This describes something nearby. The waters below protect me from the waters above. The pilgrimage came to a fork of 2 rivers and decided to settle. They erected 2 pyramids and began their new lives as protectors of the box. This elaborate pipe is sculpted to resemble Xicuatl, an Aztec serpent spirit painted in green, blue, and yellow. Its sides are decorated with semi-precious stones. The inclusion of jade indicates at least a measure of Maya influence. The bowl still reeks of burnt roots and smoke, not an entirely unpleasant aroma. It's difficult to make out. People settled between 2 rivers. They weren't alone. However, these outsiders don't appear dangerous. Amaru returned for his brother's funeral, inconsolable during the burial and immovable after. The next day, however, he cut swiftly through the city. He unmasked the cult's leader, exposing them as outsiders. "It is time for the people of Paititi to take control of their city," he said, holding a decapitated head in one hand and the bloody knife in the other. "No longer will we bow to outsiders." As it was foretold, heralded by the column of flame burning through the night, and the destruction of our temples, and the warnings of the weeping woman and the two-headed man, the strange warriors astride great deer arrived with the rising sun. They murdered the weak leaders and claimed the land and the people as their own. The people of the Andes have been perfecting the art of weaving for thousands of years. This chuspas is a wonderful example. Woven of llama or alpaca hair and traditionally used to carry cocoa leaves, it clearly highlights the weaver's skill. Beautiful. This jade mask would have been placed on a noble's corpse during his funeral. The artisans were reputedly able to create an almost exact likeness of the wearer. How can these shapes be Incan when they look like airplanes? Oh, I see, they're insects of some sort. Archaeology is a very delicate field of study. You have to put yourself in the mindset of people and cultures who died centuries before you were even born. Humans interpret strange phenomena based on what they already know. If the Inca had seen planes, they might have assumed they were some sort of bird. Given that, these shapes may not be insects after all. Some of them look more like fish. Patoli is said to be one of the oldest games in America, played by all walks of life. Players were known to gamble all of their worldly possessions over a single round, from blankets and precious stones to their homes and even their family's freedom. The god of art and games, Makwilshoktol, is considered an active participant in the game, responsible with bestowing offerings upon the winner. So much on the line for a simple game. Some things never do change.
Fucking white bitch. Cabello. Abuela.
The Aztec used these to burn incense so they could communicate with the gods. Still smells of copal. The peak of this mountain is hidden behind thick clouds. I can't be sure what these two smaller hills on either side of the mountain are supposed to represent. The protectors failed, and are now doomed to recover what they lost.
Dila wechink geek.
Itzamna is the son of the Maya creator god, Hunabku. He was the god of education, responsible for inventing writing and books. This made him an essential figure in the development of Maya culture. He was also god of agriculture and created farming. He even presided over doctors, healing people with the help of his red-hot hand. Usually, Itzamna took on a reptilian aspect, but he was also known as Kinichahau, a fire macaw, who was the patron of the number 4 and controlled drought and disease. The Paititians made peace with each other and followed Yaskar Yahweh, recently acclaimed as emperor, to a site in the mountains to begin anew, certain they will not make the same mistakes as those before them. An Aztec-influenced mosque, decorated with items native to the area around Paititi. Ill-suited to the local land, the Mayas' agriculture techniques of slash and burn soon led to a food shortage. At the risk of starvation, they entered into treaties with local pre-Inca tribes, gaining new technologies and crops. The traders arrived, bringing new goods, and then the farmers, with new crops and techniques. Eventually, as more and more of the outsiders arrived in Paititi, they eventually took administrative control. Maya and Inca stood shoulder to shoulder against their brothers on one side, those who wished to retreat and start fresh, and those who wished to expand and conquer neighboring territories. This staff has a jury-rigged flintlock mechanism similar to those from European firearms. The cultist priests must have used this during their ceremonies to awe the crowds.
Uy, ich merken isin.
This describes something nearby. 7 golden birds perched here and there. One escaped to the trees with his treasure, dropped from his talons. I'm waiting for you. Cette princesse Nishadai. Come to Lara. This describes something nearby. Canals bring water to the arid parts of the village, and they washed me away.
Hey! Mehe Julu!
Villager claims to have seen a strange creature in the streets. They followed it to a walled-in alley where it disappeared. Citizen describes similar experience in Upper City. Woke to discover something trying to climb in a second-story window. When she yelled, it dropped to the street and disappeared. We'll continue to monitor. Unuratu approached the throne through the crowd. She walked beside it, but did not sit. "Why do we continue to believe this lie?" she asked the crowd. "Kukulkan controls this city, and I will no longer wear a smile and pretend it is any different. I will not be his puppet, trotted out to wave and smile." The guards cut her off quickly and ushered her away. Then they advanced, with weapons drawn to disperse the crowds. I don't have enough space for that. Someone's taken this old walkie-talkie apart. Were they making an attempt at reverse engineering, I wonder? Heavy-breasted woman wearing serpents around her waist. This is Kuatlikyu, whose name literally means skirt of snakes. She's also called Tetio Inen, the mother of the gods. She gave birth to the moon and the stars and had over 400 children, including the sun god Huitzilopochtli, who was also god of war. In addition to being a mother, She's seen as the devourer of all that lives. It's said that she was herself sacrificed to bring about this current age of creation. After the long dry season, when the rains finally fell, the rats left their burrows looking for more food. They brought with them pests. Those afflicted bleed from their ears and nose and died in terrible pain and terrible numbers, leaving many once populous cities empty. This garishly decorated fire drill appears to be a part of the new fire ceremony, an Aztec celebration of the new year. It consists of 5 days of fasting, bloodletting, and sacrifice. The fire drill is meant to be placed upon the chest of the freshly sacrificed. It sparks, feeding a large bonfire that ignites the flames of every nearby temple. This one, however, doesn't appear to have been used, as the notches are clear of blood. This depicts the story of Viracocha, the father of all creation. He formed the heavens, the earth, the sun and stars, the moon, time itself, and all living beings, including the other gods. At first, Viracocha was considered to be the supreme god of the Inca, but with time that honor passed to his son, Inti, the god of the sun. Still, Viracocha retained his link to the sea. His name literally means fat or foam of the sea. The ground was disturbed here, recently. This must be the knife used in the murder. An antique knife, possibly Aztec in origin. There's fresh blood on this blade, but it seems as though someone tried to wipe it clean. The edge hasn't been sharpened in years.